We spend years in classrooms memorizing facts for open book tests. But when you step into the field to lead an organization or launch a product, the syllabus disappears. Out here, there is no rubric for your judgment. The rules are hidden, feedback loops take months to close, and the decisions you make ripple through actual families, local economies, and national systems. Because we specialize so early in our careers, we develop massive cognitive blind spots. We view reality through a narrow professional silo. To the person with only a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. The investor Charlie Munger realized that isolated facts are useless in a crisis. To navigate the chaos, he built what he calls a broad latticework of mental models. By layering foundational concepts from disciplines like physics, biology, and economics, you can strip away those blind spots. You start seeing the world as it actually is, identifying potential catastrophes before they occur.
We navigate this complexity using abstractions, financial statements, policy manuals, and economic theories. But the map is not the territory. A map is useful specifically because it reduces a complex reality into a simplified guide. The danger arises when we forget that reduction. If the world evolves while you treat a static, outdated map as absolute truth, your decisions detach from reality. Take the tragedy of the commons. This economic model suggests that shared resources will be destroyed because individuals act only in their own self-interest. For decades, it was treated as an inviolable law of nature. But the political economist Elinor Ostrom noticed a discrepancy. When she observed how real communities manage shared resources, she found they often solved the problem through cooperation. Relying entirely on the theoretical model to create public policy leads to disastrous results. Models are tools for exploration, not doctrines to force conformity.
They require constant updating through real-world feedback. If the territory changes and your map stays static, you will confidently drive right off a cliff. Avoiding that cliff requires intense self-awareness. Imagine a small town. The lifer, the person who has lived there for decades, knows every hidden relationship and debt. A stranger who arrives for a weekend assumes they understand the town, but that surface-level confidence is a liability. There is no harsher testing ground for this concept than Mount Everest. It is a landscape hostile to human life, and it routinely claims the lives of climbers who overestimate their expertise. While tourists approach the mountain with enthusiasm, the Sherpa people approach it with professional caution. Climbers like Tenzing Norgay spent decades learning the deadly variables of the Himalayas, placing those risks firmly inside their circle of competence. Survival depends on accurately defining the exact perimeter where your knowledge ends and your ignorance begins. You have to refuse to play the game outside that line. But what do you do when the accepted map is provably wrong? This is where you deploy first principles thinking. For decades, the medical establishment operated on a consensus: stomach ulcers were caused by stress. Because stomach acid is so potent, the absolute assumption was that no bacteria could survive in that environment. Two researchers, Robin Warren and Barry Marshall, looked at the physical evidence and realized it didn't match the consensus. Instead of deferring to the textbooks, they asked a deeper question: how do we actually know this is true? They systematically deconstructed the prevailing theories. They stripped away the professional assumptions and the because we said so arguments until they were left with only the non-reducible facts. Those core facts revealed that stomachs were not sterile. They discovered the H. pylori bacteria, proving the entire established medical map for ulcers was false. True innovation stems from bypassing the noise of conventional wisdom and rebuilding your understanding from these verified foundational truths. Even when you have the facts, you have to execute the solution over time. Ecologist Garrett Hardin coined a rule for this: you can never merely do one thing. Every action ripples out. During their colonial rule, British officials in Delhi were alarmed by the venomous cobra population. Using basic first-order thinking, they offered a cash bounty for every dead snake brought to them. Indian citizens responded by breeding cobras specifically to slaughter them for the reward. When the government canceled the bounty, the breeders released their worthless snakes. Delhi ended up with a significantly larger cobra population than when the program began. Anticipating the immediate result of an action is easy, but failing to consider the effects of the effects turns well-intentioned solutions into escalating disasters. These concepts are not isolated parlor tricks. To navigate reality, they must be woven together into a single structure of reasoning. Restricting your actions to your circle of competence, using first principles to root out false assumptions, and applying second-order thinking creates a robust defense against error. Filtering challenges through these interconnected disciplines forces you out of your narrow perspective, stripping away inherent blind spots. Success in complex environments comes from a discipline of systematic avoidance, spotting the hidden traps that others walk blindly into. Look at the biggest problem in your life right now. Are you interacting with the actual territory, or are you being misled by an outdated,